The stars above Earth glittered like a promise. For centuries, humanity had looked up and wondered what lay beyond. Now, in the year 2473, they finally had their answer. Faster-than-light travel had opened the door to the stars, and through it stepped something far more powerful than anyone expected. The Galactic Council, made up of the oldest and most advanced civilizations in the Milky Way, had not greeted humans with celebration. Their reaction was cold, polite, and distant. The Council did not fear humans. They barely respected them. In orbit above Jupiter, aboard the diplomatic vessel Unity 1, Captain Alara Miles stood tall in her navy blue uniform, facing a hollow display that projected the alien leaders into the center of the ship's command hall. The Council had chosen to meet via hologram, another way to show they did not see humans as equals. "Captain Miles," said Chancellor Rilvek, a tall, silver-skinned alien with 6 eyes and a voice like cracking glass. "You must understand. The treaty we offer is for your own protection. Your kind is new, fragile. The galaxy is not kind to newcomers." Alara's jaw tightened. Her dark brown eyes didn't blink as she spoke. "With respect, Chancellor, Earth has no interest in becoming anyone's protectorate. We did not cross light years to ask permission to exist. We came to take our place as equals." The council chamber filled with low murmurs. Some of the alien leaders looked surprised. Others looked amused. Rilvek looked irritated. "Earth is not ready to join the council," he said. "Your people are emotional, unpredictable. You fight among yourselves. You make war. You let chaos rule you." Alara stepped forward. Her voice was calm, but each word struck like a hammer. "That may be true, but we learn, we survive, and we grow. Humanity has always been underestimated, always pushed aside, until we push back. And now we're here, whether you're ready for us or not." Silence. Then Rilvek's image flickered slightly. His expression was unreadable. "Then we will not offer this treaty again. You have made your choice, Captain." "I have," Alara replied. "And so has Earth." The holograms vanished. The room went still. No one spoke until Commander Takeda, her second-in-command, stepped beside her. "That was bold." "It was necessary," Alara said. Back on Earth, celebrations had already begun. News channels beamed her speech to billions. For many, it was a moment of pride. Earth stood tall before the galaxy. But in the shadows of space, someone was already planning revenge. 3 days later, during a high-level summit aboard Earth's orbital defense station, everything went wrong. Alara arrived on the station with a team of diplomats and engineers. The station, Aegis 1, was the pride of Earth's planetary defense network, equipped with shield systems, long-range scanners, and prototype weapons. It hovered above the blue curve of Earth, its solar panels glowing in the sunlight. Inside the control room, systems began to fail one by one. Power grids unstable, an engineer called out. "Reactor output is dropping, shield generators are offline." Alara rushed to the command console. "Run a diagnostic." "Is this sabotage?" "No breach detected," said Takeda. "But it feels intentional." On the main screen, Earth's orbital defense systems blinked out, one by one. Suddenly, a foreign signal surged through their comms, broadcasting across all channels. It was in Galactic Standard, the universal language. "This is a message to Earth from the Galactic Council," the voice said. It wasn't Rilvek's, but it carried the same tone, cold and final. "Your refusal of guidance has placed your planet in danger. If you cannot govern yourselves responsibly, others will do it for you." The transmission ended. Alara stood frozen, fist clenched. "They're trying to scare us." Takeda looked grim. "Or weaken us." The defense station systems slowly came back online, but not before panic spread across Earth. News anchors speculated on sabotage. Citizens demanded answers. Was it war? Was it a warning? Alara knew the truth. It was both. She stared out the window at the stars beyond. Somewhere, Chancellor Rilvek was already moving pieces on a board Earth didn't even know existed. This wasn't diplomacy anymore. It was survival. The journey to Valus 9 took only a day in hyperspace, but for Captain Alara Miles, it felt much longer. She sat alone in her private quarters aboard the Earth diplomatic ship Starfire, reviewing reports and security feeds from Aegis 1, the defense station that had nearly collapsed days earlier. No sign of hacking. No foreign ship nearby. No clear sabotage. But still, everything pointed to a deliberate act. Her instincts told her the truth. Someone from the Galactic Council was behind it. Someone powerful. Someone who wanted Earth to fall in line or fall apart. Valus 9 loomed in orbit around a dying star, an enormous citadel built from black stone and shimmering alloys. It was the seat of the Galactic Council. 1 million species had passed through its gates. 1 billion decisions had been made within its walls. But never one quite like this. As Starfire approached, automated security scanners locked onto the ship. A calm voice crackled through the comms in perfect standard. Earth vessel, state your purpose. Captain Alara Miles, Unified Human Federation, she replied. Scheduled diplomatic visit. Authorization Code X, Delta 19. Code confirmed. Proceed to docking ring 12. The ship glided into the docking bay with a smooth hum. As the landing gear settled, Alara took a deep breath. She adjusted her uniform, clipped a data pad to her belt, and walked to the airlock. Beside her stood Commander Takeda, ever watchful, and Dr. Jen Talo, Earth's lead science officer and her closest civilian advisor. The airlock hissed open. A tall, insectoid creature awaited them. Its name was Envoy Zether, a neutral guide assigned by the Council. Its face was unreadable behind a shimmering visor, and its voice was mechanical. Captain Miles, you are expected. The Council chamber is prepared. Alara nodded. Lead the way. The corridors of Valus, 9 were cold and wide, built for beings twice the size of humans. Strange languages filled the air. Floating pods carried officials from one wing to another. A herd of gelatinous creatures shimmered past, humming softly to themselves. They were truly not in human space anymore. Inside the Council chamber, the great dome glowed with stars, a perfect simulation of the Milky Way galaxy. Hundreds of representatives sat in a circular arena, each in their own section. Some floated, some stood, some hovered in strange suits. The human delegation was one of the smallest and newest, seated far from the central platform. Chancellor Rilvek stood there, tall and calm as ever. Alara Miles, he said with a slow bow of the head. I trust your journey was smooth. Smooth enough, Chancellor, she replied. But I didn't come here for pleasantries. Earth demands answers. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. You speak of the unfortunate incident on your station, Rilvek said. A mystery indeed. But surely you don't believe the Council had a hand in such chaos. No. Alara held up her data pad. Because the signal that hijacked our systems used a Council encryption key. One that isn't available to outsiders. A soft murmur spread across the chamber. Rilvek raised his hands, expression calm. Any such signal could have been forged. Your species is known for its creativity. A low insult. Disguised in diplomacy. Alara didn't take the bait. Then I request full access to Council logs for the past 7 days, she said. We'll investigate the matter properly. With your cooperation. You may submit a request, Rilvek said. The Council will consider it. Which meant nothing would happen. Alara clenched her jaw. She knew she was being stonewalled. Rilvek was too smart to show his hand directly, but he had left fingerprints. Now, she had to find them. After the session ended, Alara and her team were escorted to temporary quarters in the diplomat wing. The rooms were luxurious by human standards, soft lighting, advanced climate control, and artificial windows showing views of distant star systems. But Alara couldn't rest. That night, she called a private meeting with Dr. Talo and Commander Takeda. Rilvek won't give us access. We need another way in, she said. There are backdoor access points, Talo said. Maintenance systems, old archives, diplomatic shuttles that connect to the internal grid. If someone in the Council is helping him, they may have left traces. And how do we find those traces? Takeda asked. We'll need help, Alara replied. From someone who doesn't trust Rilvek either. They looked at each other. It was risky. Asking for help in a place where alliances were built on suspicion and silence. But it was their only option. We start tomorrow, Alara said. We find someone who's willing to talk. Someone who wants the Council to change as much as we do. As she looked out the artificial window, a comet streaked across the starfield. She whispered to herself, we didn't come here to beg. We came here to learn. And to fight, if we must. Captain Alara Miles walked through the winding halls of Valus, 9 with careful purpose. The station was enormous, a city in space filled with beings from across the galaxy. Every hallway led to somewhere new. Every face was unfamiliar. But Alara wasn't here to explore. She was here to find the truth. She and her team, Commander Takeda and Dr. Jen Talo, had already learned that confronting Chancellor Rilvek directly wouldn't work. The Council was too protected, too polished. If they wanted answers, they needed help from the shadows, someone inside the system who wasn't loyal to Rilvek. Their first lead came from an unexpected source. In one of the neutral lounges overlooking a rotating asteroid garden, Alara met a creature named Varen, a Lyran trade negotiator. His skin was pale blue. and his eyes glowed faintly under the dim lights. He wore a loose robe, elegant but not flashy. "I heard you made quite a speech, Captain," Varen said, sipping from a glass of violet liquid. "Very brave. Very foolish." "I wasn't trying to impress anyone," Alara replied. "I'm looking for allies." "Then you're either bold or desperate. Maybe both." Alara sat across from him. "I'm looking into the sabotage on Earth's defense station. I know Rilvek had a hand in it, but I need proof. Access. Data. And what makes you think I'd help you?" She leaned in slightly. "Because you're here in the outer lounge, not in the council chamber. Because Rilvek's kind of ruled the galaxy for so long, no one else gets a real voice. I think that bothers you." Varen didn't answer right away. He stared at the stars outside the glass wall, thoughtful. "I don't care for humans," he said quietly, "but I do hate being dismissed. And lately, Rilvek has been silencing more voices than usual. He's consolidating power, even among allies. Help us, and we expose him," Alara said. "Not just for Earth, for the Council. You said it yourself. Brave and foolish. We'll take the fall if it goes wrong." Varen gave a small smile. "You really don't understand how things work out here. But maybe that's what makes you dangerous." He reached into his robe and handed her a small silver data chip. "This will give you access to the diplomatic archives from the last 30 days. It won't open the high-security logs, but it's a start. Be careful, Council systems monitor everything." Alara took the chip with a nod. "Thank you. I'm not doing this for you," Varen said. "I'm doing it to shake the table." That night, back in their quarters, Dr. Talo connected the chip to her datapad. She scanned through the logs, encrypted communications, transit records, encrypted messages between council members. "Wait," she said, eyes narrowing. "There's something odd here." "What is it?" Alara asked. 3 ships registered under diplomatic status entered restricted Earth orbit 4 hours before the Aegis 1 sabotage. They left no cargo, no contact logs. But one of them matches a council transport assigned to Rilvek's office. Takeda folded his arms. "That's no coincidence." "No," Alara said. "It's our first threat. We pull it, we see what unravels." The next morning, Alara arranged a quiet meeting with General Vesh, a Ceresian war veteran and now a military advisor to the council. His reptilian face showed the scars of battle, and he carried himself with slow, deliberate strength. "You're making waves, Captain," he said. "Rilvek doesn't like waves." "Then he'll hate what I do next," she replied. "I have evidence that one of his ships was involved in a covert mission near Earth. I need confirmation from your side, flight records, energy signatures, something." Vesh looked at her in silence. Then he gave a slow nod. "I've fought too many wars to ignore another one brewing in the shadows," he said. "You'll have my records. But if you're wrong, if this is a human trick—" "It's not," she said firmly. A few hours later, another ally stepped forward. A young ambassador from the Moonkin, a lesser-known species from a distant moon. Her name was Luma, and she had watched Alara's speech in the chamber with quiet interest. "I believe in fairness," she said softly. "And I believe your people deserve the chance to defend themselves properly. I'll share what I can." Alara now had 3 allies. 3 voices in the storm. Piece by piece, the picture was forming. Unauthorized diplomatic ships, encrypted orders linked to Rilvek's staff, and signs of council systems being accessed without oversight. They were close, but not close enough. "What we need now," Alara said that evening, "is proof Rilvek ordered the sabotage himself." Dr. Talo looked up from her datapad. "Then we'll have to go deeper." "You mean into the secure data vault," Takeda said. "That's madness." "It's the only way," Alara replied. "We break in, download what we can, and get out before they catch us. One chance. That's it." Takeda sighed. "Then we'll make it count." The plan was simple. Risky. Possibly fatal. But Alara had come this far. She stood at the window once again, staring into the endless stars. "Rilvek thinks humans are nothing," she whispered. "Let's show him how wrong he is." The secure data vault was located in the deepest level of Valus 9, behind layers of locked corridors, biometric scans, and armed patrols. It was not meant for visitors. Only the highest-ranking council members had access, and even they were watched. For Captain Alara Miles, that meant one thing. If they wanted the truth, they would have to steal it. The plan was set. Alara, Commander Takeda, and Dr. Jen Talo would enter through the engineering sector, disguised as maintenance inspectors. Their allies, Varen, General Vesh, and Ambassador Luma, would provide cover by triggering a false security alert in the outer ring. That would pull patrol units away from the vault, giving the team a short window to act. They wore dull gray maintenance suits and carried modified tools that doubled as hacking devices. Their ship's AI had helped forge their ID tags, just enough to pass a scan, but not enough to hold up under real inspection. Alara stood in the corridor outside the lift shaft that led to the vault's upper level. She looked at her team. We go in quiet. No alarms. No mistakes. We get the data and get out. Takeda nodded. If things go bad, we split and meet at the fallback point. Dr. Talo, though nervous, was ready. I've studied the vault schematics. I'll only need 6 minutes inside. Then let's move, Alara said. The lift descended slowly, its hum nearly silent. As the doors opened, they stepped into a wide corridor lit by pale blue panels. A pair of council sentries passed them without a second glance. Their disguises were working so far. They reached the vault's outer door. It was circular, with a glowing control panel and a small scanner for retinal identification. Talo pulled out a cylindrical device and attached it to the panel. It began to hum softly, sending out pulses of light. I'm bypassing the ID check, she whispered. Give me 30 seconds. Alara stood watch, one hand on the handle of her tool, really a compact stun baton. Takeda watched the hallway behind them. The door clicked and hissed open. Inside, the vault was like a hollow sphere. Data nodes floated in midair, connected by glowing threads of light. The information was alive, shifting and blinking across the room. Talo stepped forward, eyes scanning the access terminal. I'm in, she said. Accessing encrypted council logs. Looking for Rilvek's communications and movement orders near Earth's orbit. Alara felt a chill run down her spine. This room wasn't just filled with secrets, it was the council's memory. If they were caught here, there would be no trial, no mercy. That's something, Talo said. Here, authorization codes tied to Rilvek's command signature. Logs show a hidden fleet movement order, issued 3 days before the Earth sabotage. Destination classified, but all signs point to Sol System. Takeda stepped closer. Does it mention Aegis 1? No direct name. But there's a blackout window over Earth's orbital records during the same time frame. Someone tried to erase the mission. Alara leaned in. Download everything. We'll sort it later. Talo inserted the chip and began copying the files. The lights around the room dimmed briefly, then pulsed red. Someone's in the system, she said. They've triggered a trace. The door behind them slammed shut with a heavy clang. The vault was locking down. Forget stealth, move. Alara shouted. Talo yanked the chip from the console, and they raced back to the door. Takeda pulled out a plasma cutter from his tool belt and began slicing through the manual override panel. Outside, alarms blared. The door finally hissed open again, and the team sprinted into the hall. But guards were already closing in council security in full armor, weapons drawn. Split up, Alara ordered. They turned separate corners, vanishing into the twisting halls of Valus 9. Alara ran fast, ducking through maintenance tunnels and access ladders. She passed towering data servers, glowing vents, and strange machinery she couldn't identify. She didn't look back. She made it to the fallback point, an abandoned storage room deep in the diplomatic wing. 10 minutes later, Talo burst in, breathless, gripping the data chip tightly. Alara rushed to her. Where's Takeda? Talo shook her head. They got him. He covered our escape. Alara felt a sharp stab of anger and fear. Takeda had been more than a second in command. He was her friend, her partner in all this. And now he was a prisoner of the council. She took a deep breath, forcing herself to focus. We'll get him back. But first, this chip. We use it to expose the truth. Talo nodded. It's all here. Orders signed by Rilvek. Movement logs. Communications with unknown council members. If we release this, it could shake the council to its core. Alara stared at the chip in her hand. One small object that could change everything. But at a cost. The council would come for them. Rilvek would not sit quietly. Earth was already in danger, but now, the danger had a face and a name. Alara knew the fight was far from over. She stood, her voice firm. Then we fight harder. For Earth. For the truth. For Takeda. The halls of Valus 9 were quieter than usual. After the break-in at the secure data vault, tension crackled through the council station like static in the air. Patrols doubled. Doors locked earlier. The usual flow of visitors slowed. Whispers followed Alara wherever she went. Captain Alara Miles and Dr. Jen Talo stayed hidden in their quarters, lights off, data chip secure in a hardened case. Their ally, Varen, kept them updated on council movement. General Vesh sent coded warnings. Ambassador Luma managed to delay council investigators just long enough for Alara to finish her next move. She had what she needed, proof. Chancellor Rilvek had ordered covert military activity near Earth, disguised as diplomatic transit. He had used Council resources to launch an illegal mission, and it had nearly disabled Earth's defense station. But now, Rilvek was escalating. He's bringing in a fleet, Varen told them through a scrambled holocall. They say it's for peacekeeping, but he's preparing for force. You must act now. Alara didn't hesitate. She activated her ship's emergency comms and opened a broadcast line, not just to the Council, but to dozens of neutral systems, independent colonies, and allied species. Her message was short, clear, and unstoppable. This is Captain Alara Miles of Earth. I have uncovered direct evidence that Chancellor Rilvek, a senior council member, authorized covert operations against Earth's defense systems. The documents show a deliberate attempt to destabilize and intimidate a new species under the false claim of protection. Earth will not surrender. We will not be silent. We stand for sovereignty, for truth, and for justice. And we are not alone. She attached the decrypted data logs. The broadcast couldn't be jammed. It rippled across systems like a spark in dry grass. Within hours, neutral worlds responded. Some were shocked. Some were furious. Others had suspected something like this for years but never had proof. Public protests broke out on several Council-aligned planets. Independent voices demanded Rilvek be removed. A few alien governments declared temporary neutrality in all Council votes. Inside Valus 9, panic spread behind closed doors. Council chambers swelled with heated debate. Rilvek tried to deny everything, claiming forgery, claiming Earth was spreading lies. But too many saw through it now. And outside the Sol system, a fleet of Council ships slowed to sublight speeds and approached Earth. Earth's government activated full planetary defense protocols. Shield networks powered up. Orbital cannons rotated into position. Civilians were moved underground. Emergency broadcast channels repeated one message: stand ready. Do not fear. Back on Valus 9, Alara met with her allies in a quiet briefing room behind a storage wing. We have to stop that fleet, she said, pointing to the holographic projection of the ships near Earth. Even with the truth out, they're still moving in. General Vesh nodded slowly. I can't stop them with orders, but I can disable their lead command vessel. If we take out their communications, the rest will hesitate. That's all we need, Alara said. Just enough time to confront Rilvek and bring this to a vote. Ambassador Luma stepped forward. We've gathered enough support for an emergency session. Some of the older factions are wavering. If we press them with the truth again, publicly, they may vote to remove Rilvek. And what about Takeda? Talo asked quietly. He's still being held. Alara paused. Her voice dropped. We don't have the manpower to break him out now. But we won't leave him behind. When this ends, I'm getting him back. The emergency council session began the next morning. The chamber was more crowded than Alara had ever seen it. News drones hovered above. Translators whispered into earpieces. All eyes turned to the center, where she stood beside a projection of the stolen data. She didn't speak with rage. She didn't yell. She let the facts speak. You call Earth young, untested, emotional. Maybe that's true. But it's not Earth that broke Council law. It wasn't Earth that launched a covert attack. It was Rilvek. And if the Council won't hold him accountable, then the Council stands for nothing. Gasps. Murmurs. A few walked out. Then, just as planned, General Vesh sent a secure message. Command ship disabled. Fleet is confused. No advance yet. The Council chamber erupted. Supporters of Earth pushed for a full vote. Others shouted over them. Rilvek stood tall, but his calm had cracked. For the first time, Alara saw fear in his alien eyes. Earth is dangerous, he warned. They threaten the order of the galaxy. No, Alara said, stepping closer. We challenge the silence. That's not the same as a threat. The vote was held. It wasn't unanimous. But it was enough. Rilvek was stripped of his council authority. His fleet was ordered to stand down. Earth was formally recognized as a sovereign equal in the Galactic Council. The chamber emptied slowly. The weight of the moment settled like dust in the air. Outside, the stars didn't look different. But everything had changed. Alara returned to her quarters, exhausted but steady. Talo hugged her. Varen nodded silently. Luma offered a soft smile. Even General Vesh gave a rare gesture of approval. But one question remained. We still don't know where they've taken Takeda, Alara said. In Rilvek, he's not done. In the shadows of Valus 9, a ship slipped away without clearance. Rilvek had vanished. Valus 9, once quiet and controlled, now pulsed with unrest. The corridors buzzed with arguments and accusations. News drones hovered everywhere, collecting statements, spinning headlines, and reporting the fall of Chancellor Rilvek across the galaxy. But Captain Alara Miles wasn't celebrating. While the Council had stripped Rilvek of his authority, he had vanished before the vote concluded. His ship had left without clearance, its transponder disabled. No one had stopped it. No one had dared. And now, the fate of Earth was still uncertain. Rilvek's fleet, still holding position near Earth, hadn't moved. It hadn't attacked. But it also hadn't backed off. With the command ship disabled by General Vesh, the rest of the fleet waited confused and leaderless, unsure of what orders to follow. But silence was not safety. Any one of those ships could act without warning, Alara said, watching the holographic display in her quarters. All it takes is one trigger-happy captain to start a war. Dr. Jen Talo frowned beside her. They're holding, but for how long? We need to make contact. Show them the Council has spoken. I will, Alara said. But not just with words. An emergency communications session was called once more in the Great Chamber of Valus, 9. This time, Alara addressed not just the Council but also broadcast her message directly to the fleet near Earth. The chamber dimmed, and her image appeared before every commander aboard the ships orbiting her home planet. This is Captain Alara Miles. The Galactic Council has spoken. Chancellor Rilvek no longer holds authority. His orders are no longer valid. Earth is a sovereign world, recognized by the Council. I ask you not as an enemy, but as a fellow officer, stand down. Do not follow a man who fled when truth came to light. Do not let his lies become your legacy. Her voice was steady. She offered no threats, only a choice. For several minutes, the galaxy held its breath. And then, slowly, one by one, the ships of Rilvek's fleet powered down their weapons. Engines dimmed. Defensive systems lowered. The standoff was over. Alara sat down in her chair with a long exhale. The weight that had pressed against her chest for days finally lifted. But the moment didn't last. Still no signal from Rilvek's vessel, Talo reported. He's gone dark. Possibly using stealth tech. Any sign of Commander Takeda? Talo shook her head. He's not on Valus 9 anymore. We confirmed it. But we found traces of a prisoner transfer to a transport that left 6 hours before Rilvek fled. No passenger records. No return route. He's taken him, Alara said quietly. He's using Takeda as a shield. General Vesh entered the room, a data pad in hand. My people intercepted a low-level transmission from a listening post near the outer drift. No coordinates, but we caught one name, Nairo Station. Abandoned mining outpost, Talo said. Deep space. No law. No council presence. It's where I'd hide if I were running, Vesh added. Alara's decision came without hesitation. I'm going after him. Starfire, Alara's ship, launched from Valus 9 with clearance and support from her new allies. The moment it left the station, Alara took the helm herself. The stars stretched into long streaks as the ship jumped to hyperspace. Inside, she sat alone in the cockpit, her hands firm on the controls. Rilvek had lost his title, but he still had power. He still had Takeda, and he still believed Earth was a threat to be crushed. Alara didn't care about revenge. She didn't want glory. She wanted to finish what had been started. The journey to Nairo Station took 3 hours through dangerous space. The system had no planets, only broken moons and fields of drifting rock. The station itself spun in the shadows of a dying gas giant, its lights flickering, barely alive. Starfire approached quietly. No signal from the station. No activity on the scanners. Until suddenly a blast hit their forward shields. Hostile turret active. Talo shouted from navigation. Alara veered the ship, dodging another strike. She powered down weapons to avoid a full fight. We're not here to destroy the place. We're here for Takeda. The ship dipped low, evading the turret and sliding behind the station. They found a docking ring, barely operational, and latched on. Alara led the boarding team herself. Inside, the station smelled of rust and old fuel. The halls were dark. Most systems offline. Their footsteps echoed. Then a voice cut through the silence. I knew you'd come. Rilvek. He stepped from the shadows, no longer wearing council robes. His skin looked pale, his eyes darker. He had changed. Behind him, 2 guards held Takeda bound, bruised, but alive. This is how your species ends, Rilvek said. You think you've won? You've only delayed the inevitable. Alara didn't answer with words. She moved fast, stunning the first guard, dodging a blast from the second. Talo fired a dart that hit the second guard in the neck. Takeda dropped to the floor, groaning. Rilvek reached for a weapon, But Alara was already there. With one strike, she knocked the weapon from his hand and drove him to the ground. "You're done," she said. His voice was bitter. "Others will rise. You can't stop what's coming." "Then we'll meet it together," she said. "That's the difference between us." They left Nairo's station with Rilvek bound, Takeda limping but alive, and the station collapsing behind them. As Starfire lifted off and jumped back toward Council space, Alara finally allowed herself to breathe. Earth was safe. For now. The return to Valus 9 was quiet, but the silence inside the ship was not from fear. It was peace, a rare feeling after weeks of chaos. Captain Alara Miles stood at the forward window of the Starfire, watching the stars blur past as the ship moved through hyperspace. Beside her, Commander Takeda rested in a seat, wrapped in a thermal blanket, one arm in a sling. His face was still bruised, but his eyes were sharp and alert. "You should be resting," Alara said, not looking away from the stars. "I'm not missing this ending," he replied with a tired smile. Behind them, Dr. Jen Talo worked at her station, updating the council with a full report. Chancellor Rilvek, now a disgraced prisoner, sat in a sealed holding cell in the rear of the ship, silent and defeated. His future would be decided by the council. But Alara didn't care about his future anymore. She cared about what came next for Earth. When the ship docked at Valus 9, the council was already assembled. This time, they stood for her. In the great chamber, Alara walked to the center platform as lights focused on her. Aliens from across the galaxy filled the seats, some tall and insect-like, others small and round, some covered in feathers, others with scales. For once, they didn't look at her as an outsider. They looked at her as one of their own. A voice echoed across the chamber, translated into 100 languages. "Captain Alara Miles of Earth, for your service to galactic stability, for exposing corruption within this council, and for standing in defense of your people and others, you are hereby recognized as Earth's official ambassador to the Galactic Council." Applause followed. Real applause. She had expected politics. She had expected debate. But in this moment, there was only unity. Alara stepped up to the podium and took a deep breath. "We were the newcomers. The outliers. The unknowns. You thought Earth would be a problem. And maybe we are, because we don't back down, and we don't accept chains. But we also believe in peace, in fairness, and in building something better. Earth is not perfect, but we are not afraid. And now, we take our place among the stars, with open eyes, steady hands, and the will to stand for what's right." It was simple, honest, and it was all she needed to say. In the days that followed, things moved quickly. Rilvek was taken into custody and placed under council trial for abuse of power, endangering diplomatic systems, and violating peace protocols. He offered no defense. He knew his time had passed. Council reforms began. Security protocols were updated. Representatives who had blindly followed orders were removed or resigned. General Vesh returned to his homeworld, honored as a voice of reason and strength. Ambassador Luma was promoted to a senior council role, leading reform efforts. Varen disappeared quietly, returning to his trade networks, leaving behind only a short message, "Shake the table again when needed." As for Earth, it gained full voting status in the council. Delegates from around the world arrived to form a new diplomatic corps. Starports opened. Trade routes formed. For the first time, humans were part of something larger than themselves. Alara stood once more at her observation window, high above the heart of Valus 9. Earth shimmered on the hollow display, alive, glowing, distant but safe. Takeda entered, his arm healed, dressed in the simple black uniform of Earth's new galactic defense envoy. "You ever think we'd get here?" he asked. Alara smiled faintly. "Not like this." He joined her at the window. "What's next?" "We stay ready," she said. "We listen. We learn. And when someone underestimates us again, we remind them who we are." A soft chime echoed through the room. Talo entered, holding a small receiver. "We just received an encrypted message," she said, eyes cautious. Alara turned. "From where?" Talo handed over the device. "Unknown origin. But it's human-compatible. Pre-council tech." Alara tapped it. A voice, distorted but human, spoke just 3 words. This was a test. Silence followed. Alara stared at the device, then looked out the window again. "From who?" Takeda asked. She didn't answer right away. Instead, she said, "Then it's only just beginning." Alara stood tall. Behind her, Earth had found its voice. Ahead of her, the galaxy was vast, dangerous, and full of unknowns. But this time, humanity wouldn't be walking into it alone. They would walk forward, with eyes open and heads high, because the Galactic Council's biggest mistake had been underestimating humans. And that mistake had just changed the future.